Hello, welcome to Kubernetes Deployment Series Part 22. In this series, we are going to learn how to deploy microservices into cluster using Flux CD. In our previous lessons, we have already learned about Argo CD and how we can use Argo CD to deploy microservices into a Minikube cluster, as well as also we have learned how to deploy into a case cluster and automate using Azure DevOps. So in order to learn the concept fast, in this lab, we are going to use KinD as a local cluster, and we'll try to learn how we can use Flux CD to deploy the microservices. So if we code the steps, how there we'll follow the steps, how we can install the KinD and the local cluster. So here we can follow this link I've just mentioned. You can follow and you can deploy it, or there are, or otherwise you can get many online information how to deploy KinD to different systems. Also, in this case, we need to use to install the Flux CLI. You can follow this for different systems. You have to use these commands. There are few prerequisites here. We can install Docker, because in order to use KinD, we need to install the Docker desktop. If we are going to create any repository dynamically through command line, then we can use this GitHub CLI, but that is optional. We can create by using the GitHub portal itself, and we need the kubectl tool in order to communicate to the cluster. So I have already installed all these tools in my system, and once you install this KinD and the Flux CLI, then we can use these commands to create a cluster for in using the KinD. So here the command is KinD create cluster. The name we have to provide a name of this. So in this case, we can there is options also. We can create a configuration. I can show here. You can also create a configuration file where you can mention, not this one. You can create a configuration file. You can mention how many worker nodes you are going to create and how many control plane you are going to create. You can mention here, and also any port mapping you want to do, you can also include. So in this case, we can create customized cluster. So for that, we can follow this command here. You can see, uh, yeah, you can see this is the command we can use if you want to create a customized cluster. But in our case, I'll just take a simple cluster. So it will create a one node cluster. But if you want to create multi-node, then you can use this configuration file here. So it will create multiple node. And this is the command we need to use. But in this case, in this lab, I'll just create a single node cluster. So what it will happen when we'll create this one in the Docker, right? It will create as a process here. We can see that how it is running that cluster, and also we can get the cluster info, and we can see the how many nodes it got created using when this cluster is got created available. Then another command, if you want to check flux check pre. So this command basically validate whether the system is ready. I mean, all the tools are available to create a. We can use the flux for deploying the microservices into the cluster. So this is nothing. It is a validation command. So after creating the cluster, we can verify. And also, if you are going to create any repository dynamically, then you have to deploy, install this GitHub tool, and you can use this command GitHub authorization login. So we have to authenticate to the GitHub, then we can create a repository like this. But this is optional. We can create by using the portal itself. And in order to make so As you know, in our previous lessons, when we have used Argo CD for deploying the microservices, um, you remembered I have created few applications, Argo CD application. So what is Argo CD application? It is a manifest file that mainly just bind to the repository, that is a source of truth, uh, for which it will keep checking for any changes. So you can see this is the repository. It is, we have mentioned here, it will look into that repository for any changes. So this is one thing. The other one is the path of the manifest, which manifest it will check if for any changes, and if any other changes is there, then it will apply it to the cluster. So these two things are important. So this we have defined as a Argo CD application to link to the repository as well as the manifest file path. Okay, so this is required when we have using Argo CD for deploying microservices. Okay, the same thing in the concept is a bit different in case of Flux. Okay, but it uses the same, I mean, same way, like it also linked to the uh, repository, and also it linked to the manifest file, uh, which it will keep checking for any modification, and it will apply to the, when there is any change, it will apply to the cluster. So for that, if we go and check, let me just check whether it got deployed. Okay, so our cluster is ready. Now in order to check, you can see how many nodes are there. You can see, so one node is there, and you can, if you want to check the cluster info, right, you can also verify. So this is nothing, the cluster what we got created here. Okay, and then if you want to check whether we can use Flux or not, we can use this one, and it will show, okay, all prerequisites checks are passed. Okay, no need to create any repository, because I have already created one repository here. That is, the repository name is Kubernetes 22 deployment. So this is the truth, source of truth for our Flux CD. Okay, okay, so I have already created this. And one thing is that whenever we are going to, so as I explained, in case of Argo CD, we are using a Argo CD application, and that application links to the repository as well as the manifest file, manifest path of that repository. Okay, so it's the same thing. We are doing a different way here. In case of Flux, we are using the bootstrap, Flux bootstrap. Okay, so this bootstrap also it point to the repository. Okay, and which branch it is using. So this is nothing. This is the repository. Okay, it will link. The next is the path, which path it is linked, similar to the Argo CD. Okay, we are defining the path in the repository where it should keep checking the changes. Okay, and this is personal is true and private false. So it's not, it is public repository. Okay, that is fine. So we just create. So what it will do actually, if we run this command, the Flux will create few components. You can see here, these are the different components it get created in one of the namespace, that is Flux system. It will create a Flux system, Flux-system namespace, and under that it will create these components, and these components will run as a pod in that namespace. Okay, so here you can see here customize controller, source controller, Helm controller, and notification controller. So as you remember, in Argo CD, we have deployed different manifests. Like we deployed simple, the raw or the basic manifest files. We also deployed Helm charts, and also deployed the customized manifests. Okay, the same thing here in case of Argo CD. We have also one specific controller that is called Helm controller when we'll use the Helm chart. Okay, and customize controller. So this customized controller basically for anything, whether you use the raw manifest or you use Helm chart or use customize, this customized controller is required. Okay, and this customized controller basically use to check which manifest it will going to apply into the cluster. We will just discuss on this. Okay, so it support managing Kubernetes manifests using customize. Okay, we'll see how that is used in our case in Flux. Okay, and source controller is nothing. We are using Git repository, that is also a source controller. Similarly, Helm repository. So this will point to a external resource. Okay, so to check for any kind of manifest file, etc. Okay. Okay, we'll see how it will be. So for that, in order to run this, what we have to do, you have to create a pad token. Okay, so in GitHub, we have to create this pad token, and this pad token we are going to use while we are creating this Flux. We are doing this Flux bootstrapping. Okay, so that how we can create. You can go to this, and here if you go to settings, under settings you will find the developer setting, and here if you go, there is a token. You can create a fine grained tokens or a token classics. Okay, if you select, you can generate a new token, generate a new token, classic one. If you want to go, you can go and log in. Then just select all whatever info, I mean access you want to provide. You can provide, and you can just create that one. So once you create, it will provide a GUID. Okay, that ID you have to copy it and store it, because it will not available in future again. Okay, you cannot see it again, so you have to keep it safe. Okay, so this way, let me go to the repository again. Yeah, so let me just create this. So for that, what we can do, we need to use this two variables. I have to export it here. Let me export this too, and this one also need to export. It is, I just copied some different place, because if you copy this in Git, right, we are not able to check in. So we should not keep it in the here. It will not allow to check in and push into the repository. Okay, this is done. Then let me just do the bootstrapping. Okay, it will take some time to bootstrap that. So once it will bootstrap, what it will do is it will create a as I told, it will create one Flux system namespace, and under that it will deploy all these controllers. Okay, and these controllers basically used to manage how to monitor the repository, and when there is changes it will apply to that. So all these activities, right, it will be done by using this customized controller or source controller. Okay, if you are using Helm chart, then this Helm chart controller will use. Also there is another one, notification controller. So if you want to notify anything from through those Flux, right, that also you can do. Okay, so once this is done, right, we can check if we simply so as I told, right, what it will do, it will create a Git repository. So one thing is, if your repository is not available, is not exist, it will create a new one with that name, what we have provided here. So this is my case. In my case, it is already available. Okay, so it will create and install Flux components. These components, whatever it is, just I told you, these are the components it will create. And the other one is, it will configure the Flux reconcile manifest. Okay, I'll tell what is this. Okay, this is one important. Okay, so these three things basically it does. Okay, one, it will create a repository if it is not there. The second thing, it will install or create all these components, whatever these 4 or 5 components it will create. Then it will configure the Flux reconcile. So what is this Flux reconcile that we can get? Let's first check this whether it got created or not. This namespace. Okay, you can see under this namespace, this Helm controller, customized controller, notification controller, and source controller. So these components got created. So that got created by using this bootstrap. Okay, so these are got created, as well as it also create a folder in the repository. Okay, let me just sync it. I mean, just pull from my repository. Here I'll just click this, so it will sync, and we'll get, yeah, you can see here this folder it got created. Okay, it was not there earlier. So by default it created this cluster, whatever we mentioned here. You see, clusters, demo cluster, right, cluster, demo cluster, it created, and under that Flux system. Okay, within this it created a YAML file here, and this is the sync file. These two are important. We need these two, like how in ArgoCD app we are using, right, we are creating ArgoCD app. It is same here. We have to use this sync YAML and well as well the customization YAML. So what is this sync YAML? Let just discuss what is this. So here you can see we have two resources are here. One is Git repository, the other one is customization. Okay, Git repository, nothing, it is the path to which it will keep checking. I mean the source of truth. So here it defined the source of truth and the branch, okay, and the interval, how much in what interval it should keep checking that, or it will pull from that repository. Okay, the second thing is customization. Customization is like it will define the path for the manifest, from where it will get the manifest. Two things, repository and the manifest path. So the manifest path will be available in under clusters, demo cluster. So this cluster, demo cluster, under Flux system we need to define where it is. Okay, so this customization, it is under Flux system. Under this we have to mention actually which manifest we are going to use. Okay, but you can see here, this is my manifest file. This is the raw or the basic manifest for all the services what I am using. Okay, so this uh, we know we have already discussed this one. If we go single manifest, right, I have created, this includes all the manifest, I mean the manifest for all the services, and I just mentioned here the path is single manifest. Okay, same thing here, we're using path, and here you're using the repository. Two things. Okay, so these two things are also created here in deployment. If you go in this sync, right, the same thing is defined. Okay, and under this we have to mention in the customization, these are, it is using these two. Okay, it is using these two, and also we have to mention actually which, what is the manifest that it is going to apply in the cluster. So that path we have to mention here. Okay, so for that what we can do now, this file is under Flux system, right? But so it is, there are three levels, one, two, three levels, right? So then it will go to the single manifest and use this, right? So you know, to the path should be, how it should be, dot dot this, then dot dot this, dot dot this. So three levels it went, right? Then it will use the single manifest. So it is nothing to this one. This is one level, two levels, three level. So it will come to this level, same level, and here it will take this folder, go to this folder, and under this whatever is there it will use. I think you got this one, everything, like how it is linking. So this is nothing. This is our the Flux manifest. Okay, so whatever we have mentioned here, the three things, configure Flux to reconcile manifest under this one. Okay, so this is mainly used for reconciling. Okay, so whenever there is change, this it will use this manifest. Okay, and from here it will take, it will get what is the repository and the path, then it will reconcile. Okay, so once that is done, we did the change. And if you see here, and one more thing we need to know here, in single manifest, so we are using many manifest file for different services. Here also we need to mention one customization. Okay, so in this customization we have to mention what are the manifest we are using here. We are using all this manifest, right, that is there here. Okay, so that we need to mention in under this customization. And also I mentioned here the namespace where we are going to deploy this. So this is important. We need to mention which, because in my individual uh, manifest I have not mentioned the namespace, or you can mention here also. If you want in this metadata, you can add the namespace, but I have not added any of this manifest file, so I just added here. Okay, so it will take, it will use this namespace, and all these things will be deployed in this namespace. Okay, so this is required. So once this is done, what we have to do is, let me save. So we have did some changes. What we did, we have added some information in this. We have added this, only this change we did, and we have added a customization folder under single manifest, and we did these changes. That's all. We changed it, updated this. After this, what we have to do is, we have to just uh, push into the commit it and push into the repository. Okay, let me just do update. So once I'll update it and sync it, so what it will do, the Flux will wait that 1 minute, and it will reconcile depending upon the interval what we have mentioned here, right? Interval. So using this interval, it will try to reconcile it. Okay. Now if you see, so there is no resources available. We'll see after some time whether it is reconciling or not. Okay, but if you want to do it by yourself to reconcile, you can use this Flux reconcile customization. We have to mention the name, our name of the Flux and the namespace. Okay, but let's see whether it is reconciling implicitly or not. If you want to see in the status also, you can see this way. Now you can see it is true ready. It is already true. Okay, applied revision. Okay, it is already reconciled. Let me just display again keyboard. Now you can see it got created. Still, it is in progress. Okay, here if you see it is creating order 4 instances. If you go to order deployment, I have mentioned replicas 4. Okay, that side is getting created. Okay, so one thing here you just to note here we are using the raw or basic manifest, but still we are using customization. So the customization here we are not this customization it is not used, we are not using for our manifest to deploy it in multiple environments or something. It is only used for reconciliation. Like this is the mechanism that in Flux we are using. So cost here to link uh, to the different path. Okay, what are the manifest we are using? For that we are creating one customization, and again in the Flux system it is also using a mm, customization. So this is for to just to do the patching or linking. Okay, so we'll learn more about this how it is happening. So what changes we just did, like Argo CD application, we have created this. So anyway, this got created automatically when we did the bootstrapping. Okay, and we have just added this line path here. This is our manifest path, and why it is like this I just explained about the labels. Okay, depending on that we have to mention, and in this single manifest we have used customize. Okay, yeah. Now let me just again, you can see it is still running here, and it's trying to create it. It will take some time to make it ready. And one more thing I just to mention here, that here I'm just using the images from my Docker hub. Okay, so I'm not using from my other because it is from local. So I have already explained that how we can build locally using the Docker and how we can post to the Docker hub. So I'm just referring that from there. Okay, so that we can just if you want to know about this, you can just go to my previous lab and you can see how I'm just creating those and uh, pushing into the Docker hub. Okay, you can see this way we can push it. Okay, it is already there in the repository, you can see it. Okay, is it created or not? Pod is initializing. Okay, it's taking some time. Okay, let it be. Let's see. We'll do one thing. Let me, in order to check whether it is reconciling or not, one more thing. Let me change this order on the replica to 1 again. Okay, let me make it 2. Order will make 2, and product also product deployment. Let order will make replica 2, product also 2, and stateful set. Let do it 2 also. Okay, and storefront also 2. So let me do this. So after this, let me just check one more time. Now you can see everything is running. Okay, everything is running perfectly. And let me do these changes. So I did the changes. Let me save it and then post it again. So we'll not do anything. We'll see whether automatically the Flux reconciling it or not. So and updating the replicas. I mean the number of parts. Okay, so it will take I think 1 minute. It's taking 10 milliseconds. Still it is there. Okay, so the concept is here. And let me just go through it again. Let me go through from here. So what we learn here is you have to install the kind cluster. Then we need to uh, bootstrap the Flux, okay. And then after the bootstrap, it will create this folder here, whatever we mentioned, and it will create this three manifest file here. And this manifest we have to use, and we have to mention the path of our um, application manifest files. And in under this, we have to add a customization to mention what are the um, manifest file it is going to use to apply in the cluster. Okay. Okay, now you can see here it is already reconciled and it shows two everything is two. And before it was showing here four, okay, then two prod and one rabbit message to one storefront. But now it became two. Okay, so it automatically reconciled it. Okay, so this is how it is automatically any changes. For example, let me try one more thing. If we want to do go to the manif customization and let me create a namespace. I have let me create another namespace dev. Okay, let it change to dev. Okay, so what we did, we'll just now let deploy into the dev environment. We'll see whether it is deploying to dev environment or not. I mean dev namespace. Let just check get port minus n dev environment. See, it automatically started creating. It's synced. Okay, so if you see the performance wise, the Flux it is better than Argo CD. But in Argo CD, there are some advantages. In Argo CD, we have a dashboard, so where we can monitor all the, I mean, Kubernetes objects. Okay, so there is some advantage, and compared also Argo, it is more simpler than Flux. What I feel. Anyway, we'll discuss how we can do deploy other manifest file like how we can deploy the manifest for individual microservices and how to use Helm charts for all the services together or individually, and also how to use the customize. Okay, then we'll try to automate it using the AKS and Azure pipeline. Okay, so that's all for today. We learn how it is getting how we are using the uh, Flux for deploying microservices into on to the kind cluster. Okay, so yeah, so in our future lab we'll learn how some other concept regarding the Flux CD. Yeah, till then, bye bye. So if you like this video, then please subscribe it, share it, and like it. Until then, bye bye. Thank you so much. Bye.